Welcome everyone to Cooking with Heart Foundational Class 4. So this is our last class. So congratulations to everyone for coming, making the 4 classes, making this a priority. I know it's hard with everybody's schedules. Things are changing. I wanted to kick off tonight. Last time I forgot to give our kind of takeaway. So from the ones that I collected, from last time, just some thoughts that people had. Add more fruits and vegetables to existing diets. We talked about that plate with half fruits and vegetables. Small substitutions with vegetables. Yes, so that was one of the strategies that we shared last time. Incorporate the healthy eating plate, so half the meal, fruits and vegetables. And that one I know is for many people, there's a lot of opportunity there. So don't worry, taking baby steps, working yourself towards that kind of vision for your eating, the pattern. Find a way to sneak vegetables into your meals. Yeah, so great, guys. Thank you. And I want you to think about kind of what is, as we finish out this, what is one takeaway for the whole class? It doesn't mean it's your only important, most whatever, just something, again, because as we share these things, it helps one another hear the points again. It helps us hear them, that kind of thing. It's a different kind of way to connect and learn. So Andrew shared also a product here, Herb Ox. This is sodium free. So we're coming up, especially now on soup season. So, and gravies and things like that. So thank you, Andrew, for sharing. This is sodium free. It comes in, you said, packets. So chicken and possibly vegetable flavor, Walmart, anywhere. So watch, this is a great thing to have. I love that. Thank you. So, because sodium is just in soups, goes through the roof. So we're going to do soups today. So from scratch. So I'm excited about that. And let's see, let me grab this is my cue to put on my gloves when I get there. So, okay. Let's see, a couple things. I get questions a lot on breads. Breads are tricky because the grain is typically way far from its original kind of whole food format. So we want that intact. Remember, we want the 3 layers on there. So you might see things, some things you might see on the label for breads are barley, steel cut oats, brown rice, quinoa, cracked wheat, wheat berries, rye berries, sorghum, amaranth, or millet. So those are intact. So the problem is if we take one of those and grind it up to this powder, we do lose some of the advantage of that original intact grain, even if we keep it all 3 together. Just think about it. Your body, when it gets to your stomach, part of what it's doing is breaking down that clump and then releasing the carb into your bloodstream. So which one do you think, if you have actual pieces of oats and cracked wheat and millet in the bread versus ground up to this powder, which one do you think is going to take longer, thus keep a lower blood sugar? The whole intact one. Yes. So that's one of the problems too with bread, because we grind it up to this flour in order to make it fluffy. And even if we start with a whole grain kind of flour, which there are some better ones on the market now, you're still not going to get the same advantage as if you ate a bowl of barley. Okay. So we don't label things good or bad, guys. Okay. I just want you to be aware of the full effect. So I've had people say, oh, I love sandwiches. Are you saying I have to give up sandwiches? No, I'm not saying you have to give up sandwiches. So just maybe a little less if you're having it every day. Or, there are some breads with sprouted, they're a little hardier. They're not going to be usually in that aisle, the bread aisle. They might be in the frozen section. So you might have to seek them out. Again, I'm not trying to say bread is bad, but also bread is mostly insoluble fiber. And for heart, if we were looking at heart, we want a little more of those viscous from the barley and the oats. So that type of fiber does better with lowering our LDL. So just, again, I don't want to beat up bread, but there's a lot of people just switch to a brown colored bread thinking, yep, that's all I need to do. And I'm like, there's a little more to that picture. The other thing is, I want to emphasize when you're switching from whatever your pattern was over to a more whole food, and I don't care if you have animal in it or not, okay? But when you switch over to whole food, you get a lot of benefit. And what we see is you're going to feel on just one day, if you were to do all your meals and snacks, whole food, okay, minimally processed, okay, then you would feel full sooner. You'd stay full longer. You'd have more energy, sustainable energy just for that one day. So, and that was coming from the grains, the fiber, the beans, things like that. Most Americans aren't eating near enough fiber. So if you did that for a week, if you were eating whole food, like 80% for a week, then you would find you're in a better mood, more energy, you'll be more productive from the nutrients, the fiber, the phytochemicals that you're getting in there, they're slower released. We're finding that a lot of mental health conditions are helped by just simply transitioning to whole food diets too. So there's a lot in there. So you definitely have better bacteria, more diverse in your colon, better blood sugars. Within a week, or a few weeks, you're going to drop your cholesterol, get more of the big fluffy, less of the small dense. You're going to get higher HDL. That's the cleaner upper. I hate to call it good, but that's kind of what we do. Blood pressure would improve because you got more fruits and vegetables. The potassium's going up in ratio to your sodium. You're going to sleep better from the tryptophan and the sleep hormones that are happening. And in a month, on average, people lose 4.4 pounds without even trying, just from going from processed over to whole food. Okay, so the deal is, don't think about, I need to lose weight, I'm going to whole food. I just, that actually there's some things in your body that are going to counteract that when we say that four-letter nasty word. So just think, I'm going to get better health, I'm going to feel better, I'm going to go over to whole food gradually. So I just want you to know that these are benefits, and see if you can start noticing that you're feeling more energy, you're feeling fuller, longer, that you're sleeping maybe a little bit better, okay? I have no magic bullet to like sleep like a baby, but we do find people sleep a little bit better quality sleep when they switch over to whole food. So these are some things that I want you to pat yourself on the back for. And because, we're doing baby steps, so it's not going to be a drastic change, but you'll see over time this happening. So keep it up. Okay, I want to hear from you. What are some observations that you've seen in the last week? Just some things that you've noticed, you tried out. So, and it doesn't even have to be directly from this class, just anything moving forward on your eating pattern. Sharings. At home, go ahead, feel free to take yourself off mute or send it in the chat here.
And I use whole wheat.
The white whole wheat flour?
Well, I don't know, my loaf is really dark.
Okay, it might be the regular whole wheat. There is white whole wheat now too.
No, it was like regular, whatever you
Yeah. That's fine.
I had to look up a recipe because I didn't have one.
Yeah.
I had to go online and look for a recipe and everything, and I
awesome.
It, but it said put it in the refrigerator for one day, it's better the next day. So we're gonna try it.
Okay, that's got to be hard to not touch it for a day.
It is. It's all wrapped up. This is good, and I'm like,
I love the banana bread that's good.
It was always gone really fast, but
yeah,
it's really sweet and
yeah.
sugary. And so
okay.
I don't know. I wish I would have made it a day sooner.
Yeah. Okay, so Barb made some banana bread and did all kinds of substitutions, applesauce, whole wheat flour. She hasn't had a chance to taste it because they said put it in the refrigerator for a day. So hey, you're moving that direction, and it'll be a success, whatever it turns out, even if it's not the flavor that you anticipated because you tried it. And then you can go back and go, well, that seemed to work. I probably need to adjust that. It's a trial and error. So awesome. I love that. Love that. Other sharings?
Yeah, love having piece of toast, morning coffee.
Yeah.
And I slice up half of an avocado.
Yum.
I don't know if that's too much, but, so no butter.
Wow. And how'd it taste?
Yeah.
Awesome. So Phil had toast with half an avocado. I love that. I'm not here about telling you exactly how much. How long did it hold you over? You know, that's really,
Yeah. getting
to 80% full.
I don't know that because I have a bowl of Bob's Red Mill cereal,
Yeah.
milk and some blueberries, so
Yeah.
that really holds me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. Ah, love it. Love it. Yum. Other sharings, learnings, observations.
Shopping for chili, made this weekend,
Yeah.
picked up the low sodium beans,
Okay.
and I cut the meat in half.
Okay.
Substitute for put mushrooms in there.
Oh,
Gonna try that.
okay. Oh, so Carl went shopping for chili, and so he's doing the no added salt beans, and he's substituting half mushrooms and half meat. Was that okay? Awesome. So you might end up with a better taste. But, you never know. You're trying it out, just like Barb.
I know.
You're trying it out, and you might go, well, this is not quite there, but I'm closer. So awesome. Other sharings. I love it. And that brings up what you're doing in the classes is not a diet, a program. So I met somebody the other night at an event, and he was so excited to share with me he'd lost 35 pounds and he'd been through the classes, and he was explaining that, he's doing some recipes from class and not, and I could see on his face, he was kind of like hesitating to tell me he was doing recipes outside the class. Guys, this is not a program, okay? I want you to be doing recipes, and even if you do no recipes from this class, still a success. The point of you coming here is learning and having confidence in developing the recipes, the meals that you love, that are going to bring you the health that you want. So you're doing it. So Barb and Carl shared two amazing things. That's what I want you to do. I want you to get ideas and inspired and keep going. So this is not a program, okay? So you don't have rules to follow. So in a year, you'll be like, well, I remember taking that class, but maybe one recipe, maybe two, I don't know. And maybe you just have revamped a lot of them. That's perfectly fine. I want you to find what works for you. It's going to be different for each person in this class. And some people end up incorporating a lot of the recipes. I did give out the gift, which is a menu, and I don't, I make an exception here. I made a menu for you guys. I usually don't. I get asked all the time, can you make me some menus? And the problem with me making a menus is I don't know your taste. So I can put together, on paper, something that looks good with, the amount of saturated fat and sugar and fiber and things like that. But I don't know how it's going to taste for you. Did I run out of them? Do we have? Yeah, great. So what you'll notice there, what I made sure is each meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, had 20 grams at minimum of protein. And that's not like a magic number, but it's kind of the minimum number that we should include. You don't need to get freaked out if you're not having 20 at each meal, but it's just, most people can't absorb more than 30. That would be that's what our research finds. Even the muscle builders, there might be a little upper limit, but they're not absorbing 50, 60, anything like that, even if they're drinking it in their shake. What they're doing is they're converting it to other things like glycogen stored as fat. So they're probably burning it off, so they're probably using glucose. So you can convert protein over to glucose. So I just want you to see, you can just add a few nuts here and there. And, I've got the soup with a piece of sourdough bread. I mean, that's a wonderful meal. So, and beans in there to up the protein a little bit. So I don't usually worry about protein, but I just wanted you to see, 20 grams, I made sure everything was there. And you'll see kind of my abbreviation is CWH. D means the Cooking with Heart, the diabetes series. CWH for the cancer series, and then the F is for the foundational. If you haven't been through the other series and you want the recipe, let me know. There's a couple breakfasts that I can share the recipe if you want. It's easy enough to kind of like online figure out what that is. I think a brown rice pudding for breakfast or something. So if you want the recipe, let me know. I do have a recipe for that, but I wanted to see you just see how creative you can get with breakfasts. You don't have to, you can have it. I have pretty much the same thing every single day. So for breakfast, that's just the way it's easier for me. But if you want a little variety, spice it up, there's some ideas there. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, I don't know your taste. You might look at them and go, no, thank you. You do as a foundational have bonus recipes. The bonus recipes, I used to run this series for 6 classes, but 6 classes just seemed to be too much to like get people started with. They're like, 6? That sounds like a lot. But then when people started, they're like, can we keep going? So I gave you the recipes. They're all great recipes. We've got pesto. We've got veggie bibimbap, which is one of my favorite, my son's favorite. We've got like a ice cream one that's just basically frozen fruit with a little bit of apple juice concentrate in there. So you can look through those and see some recipes that you'd like. But those are all true tested ones that have, at one time we did have people going through the class and we were making those. Yeah. Yeah, just reach out to me. You don't have to go through the class. You're more than welcome. You don't have to have diabetes to go through the diabetes one. The diabetes and the cancer, they are an hour long. I shortened them. I created them after this class and kind of said, what is the best practice? An hour seemed, you see that I pack an hour and a half. And I could go an hour and a half in those other classes, but we're just trying to kind of what people feedback is. An hour seems like what they can attention-wise and time-wise commit to. I can only do 2 recipes in those classes too. So you get much more bang for your buck on these. So, but you're welcome to take those. I do have classes online open for registration in January for all the class. We actually have all of the 2024 open up on the schedule. If you go to Cooking with Heart, unitypoint.org/cookingwithheart, all the classes are open. So if you want to sign up, or please let other people know, because that's our biggest referral is you guys referring other people. Yes.
Are these the classes that are after the cardiac rehab?
No. So cardiac rehab is done here for the cooking classes, and that's Pritikin. So that's done through, you have to have a cardiac event. So we are trying to prevent people from a cardiac event and qualifying for Pritikin. So yes, very good question though, but we do use this kitchen for those cooking classes. So, okay. So let's see, we are going to get into 2 key concepts. So I want to get going. Let's see, let me see if there's anything here I want to mention. Okay, yeah, let's just get going because these are really good concepts and we've got a game we want to play. So let me get over here. Okay. Okay, so our quote for the day is, to change our eating habits, we must learn to eat mindfully, be more aware of chewing and tasting what we eat so that the brain can register the incoming nutrients. And that actually, there's a whole chemistry involved with chewing, sitting down, eating. So we're going to do some mindful eating to experience that so that we can go with what our bodies are programmed for. Okay, so you came to these classes. What was your big why? What was your why? To get more energy, to lower your risk of heart disease, to lower your cholesterol because your doctor told you to. You wanted to lose some weight. You want to play with your grandkids. You want to travel. You want to avoid doctor appointments, having to have those. You want the last 10 years of your life to be out exploring, climbing mountains and things like that, rather than in a nursing home, because your choices that you make from about 50 on definitely are contributing for your last 10 years. And I saw that with my dad. So what is your big why? What is it you want to get out of changing your eating and your lifestyle? There's got to be a reason. All of the things. Okay. Anything in particular rise? Yes. Yeah.
And didn't get any education, nothing. I mean, it was sad. And then, I actually had a test and one of the little, like, this is okay, but we saw this.
Yeah.
And it said, I'm like, what does that mean? Because, it's in medical terms. And so the nurse said, well, that's fatty liver. And I'm like, hold on a second, how did that be? And so for me, there was no education, I couldn't find any, and so I worked for Unity Point. So I knew Frickin', and so I went and searched for it. And so I brought myself here to understand how food and my liver and all the sugars or whatever that's going on, I can do something about it now, because she passed away from it.
Oh,
So I want what you just said. I want a lifetime of traveling when we retire. I don't want him to have to not be able to travel because he's taking me to doctors.
Right. Exactly.
That was my mom's last 4 years. Be taking her to doctors.
It's so hard to watch a loved one go through that.
I don't
So,
want that for me. It's
yes.
for us.
So
that's my way.
That's
Wonderful.
why I'm here. Is that
Yeah.
I don't have any of that stuff.
Yes.
I drink some beers, and that's what I'm. But I was.
He doesn't have the lab stuff that I.
My mom's maiden name is Good. E at the end.
Yeah.
The joke is I have good genes.
Yes.
So I don't have cholesterol problems and or blood pressure issues. I have none of that.
Yes. Yes.
For now.
For now.
Yes.
Maybe I will someday.
Yeah.
So
It
this
will,
benefits
but
both of us.
it does. And you might even find some other benefits other than you're getting healthy. You might find life is richer in some ways, that you appreciate things that you missed before. That's what I found for me. So, yes, so I hear you loud and clear there. So, I heard a speaker say, and he was talking about Alzheimer's, and his father passed away from Alzheimer's, as a physician. And he was saying, your health is your best investment. And to me that resonated, because you can, put all your money in the retirement and get that to grow and, do all the right things there. But if you don't have your health, my goodness, that's not going to really help having the money to travel if you can't travel. So, and, if you're healthy, then you don't have the doctor's visits and the doctor bills and the nursing home. And he emphasized how, do you want free will when you're in your last few years? Because living in a nursing home, you don't have all free will. There's decisions being made on your behalf. Now, I know this is can be a little harsh to think about, but the idea is we don't have a crystal ball, and I don't know what your future health will be, my future health, but I do know if I get diagnosed with heart disease or cancer, that I will have slowed it down, put it off, and I'll be stronger when it happens. And I'll face it, no problem. So there's no guarantees with this life, but I know by your investment, what you're doing here, you are making yourself healthier and you are putting off anything that might come down the road. So, okay. So we're talking about calorie density. So calorie density is real critical to understand. It's the number of calories packed to a given weight, not volume. So this is kind of like the British recipes where you weigh. Here we measure volume. This is about the weight of given food. So let's kind of go into that. How do I know if a food has high or low caloric density? Whether it's been high in water, high in fiber, or have both. Those are the three things you just need to remember from this concept. Is it high in water, high in fiber, high in bulk? So that's going to be, you've got this chart. I know you can't see it very well on the screen there, but flip to your binder. You got it there. You'll see the lowest are what? The lowest calorie density is what? Fruits and vegetables. Anybody shocked there? No, they have the highest water, bulk, fiber. So yeah, and so the vegetables are going to be like broccoli and romaine lettuce and bok choy and things like that. So in the potatoes, pastas, brown rice, we usually put the kind of starchier vegetables in there. Then we've got beans, and then we've got dairy, and then we creep out of kind of the green area there. So it goes up and up. So this is kind of, I like to say it's kind of like stretching your nutrient, getting more bang for your buck. What? Eggs would be in the, are they listed there in the poultry? Seeing that? I'm not seeing, where is it? Yeah, I would say it's probably, it would be, if you're doing a full egg, seafood, lean, poultry, lean, and meat. If you're doing egg whites, non-fat dairy foods. So, yeah, great question. So I like to, shop at TJ Maxx and Walmart. So I'm a bargain shopper. So this is where you're going to get a lot more nutrition for your calorie. You're going to stretch your calories. So now thinking about this, if we fry a food, is the caloric density going up or down? Up. 3.5 times if you fry it. What about dried? Is it going up or down? Dried like fruit. Up 5 times. 5 times. Again, I'm not labeling bad or good, but if we go from a grape to a raisin, it's going 5 times up in caloric density because the water is gone. You shriveled it up. Because it's by weight. So, yeah. Okay. So, I want to do a little test, see how you got, if you figured this out, kind of got the concept across. So, let me escape here. And did I escape? No, I didn't. Okay. We want to escape. I need to go here and stop sharing. That's what I need to do. Okay, because I want you guys at home to see me. Okay, so both of these are the same calorie. Okay, see that, guys at home? Which one is lower caloric density?
Apple.
Thank you, Carl. Carl's joking with us. So which one are you going to feel fuller after you eat?
Apple.
The apple. Yeah. Okay, another test. So I've got 2 containers of carrots. So they're both baby carrots. There's nothing done differently about them. So which one's higher calorie? The bigger 3 cups or the closer to 1 cup?
Total calories?
3 cups. Yeah, Phil, you're listening closely. The 3 cups, higher calorie, but which one has the higher caloric density? They're same. Yes, you guys are paying attention. Yes, they're the same. And honestly, yes, Andrew's like she's tricking us. So no, these are the same caloric density. And what I want you to know is, I don't care about calories. I care about paying attention to caloric density. Now, I don't mean that, and you'll see in a minute, I'm not trying to have you only eat things with super low caloric density, but I want you to start thinking about the caloric density. So I need a volunteer. So who would like to be a volunteer from here at home, here in person? You will get to use the whole classroom to help you, I promise. Okay, come on up, Phil. So, okay. So we're going to do a little game here to see if we've got this concept across. So, Phil, so I won't give you a timer. Come on over here. So I used to give a 1-minute timer for you to do this. So no pressure. So I want you to take these and put them, assume they're the same weight, okay? Because we obviously don't have the same weight, but assume they're the same weight. I want you to put them from lowest to highest, and you can ask, just like on Price is Right, you can ask the group for help there. Okay.
Can they see?
No, let me get you guys so you can see there. There you okay. They see pretty good? Okay, good. Okay. So you guys can help at home too. So what do you think is the lowest?
So she said a lot of water.
Water, fiber, and bulk.
So I think this is probably one of the lowest.
So I'll go quickly through. I should have probably told everybody what we have here. We have orange, we have spinach, we have oatmeal. Assume that's made up oatmeal. Beans, Oreos, bread, It could be whole wheat or bread, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be the same pretty much. Potato, walnuts, and olive oil.
Okay, so let's go the other way. Let's do the easy. Okay, all right, olive oil on that sheet she had, that's down here, right?
Yes.
Okay, so nuts, where were they? They were about in the middle, right? Okay. Oil, somewhere over here. This is made up
Oh,
oatmeal,
made up.
so that's gonna have water in it, so somewhere up here, okay? What is this, kale?
That's spinach.
Spinach, somewhere up here, okay? What was that?
Beans, just
Beans,
He's had moisture and.
somewhere up front, okay? Just a plain white potato, not a sweet potato.
Yep, just a baked potato.
Skin's a lot of fiber. There's moisture. Yeah, to the bread, yeah,
Down here,
yeah.
okay? And this looks like a piece of Wonder Bread, you know, kind of not so good stuff,
FP between the potato, maybe the Oreos.
like here,
Yeah.
okay?
In the middle.
So raise your hands. Does that look spinach over here? Oh, first, okay. Fourth from the top here,
It would be
after the orange.
Yeah,
And
yeah, according to our chart, it says fresh fruits, then potatoes.
okay. So
Switch it.
go further with the potato. Okay, oatmeal and then the peas or
Beans,
beans
beans,
and then
the nut.
nuts,
Yeah.
bread, Oreos and then olive oil.
Okay,
The nuts put behind, put after the bread. The nuts after the bread. Put the bread ahead of the.
Like that?
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Are we ready? Okay, okay. Awesome job, Phil. Thank you, thank you. Okay, can you guys see at home what we did there? You're gonna take those, okay.
No free lunch.
Super sugary there. Okay, so you guys did terrific. So the spinach is the lowest. So if we got spinach, broccoli, lettuce, that's going to be definitely the lowest. 128 calories per pound. Per pound. Keep that. Yeah, but if we had if we had a pound of it on a scale, it'd only be 128 calories. I don't think I could even eat like a pound of
It's a lot of
spinach. Yeah, that's a lot of spinach. Okay, orange is next with 211 per pound. Oatmeal is next with 325. Now that's made up, so it's got the water in there, close there. Baked potato is next with 495. So we are close, guys. You guys did excellent there. Beans, 550. So notice we went from 128 to 550. Okay, I'm not saying that's huge. Wait till we get to the very end, but just saying, look how this changes. So the bread, 1,120. 1,120. That's where I'm just like, I know everybody wants to, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying we need to understand where bread goes. It's okay to have here and there, but not as a consistent part of a daily kind of thing. I mean, if you are right now and you're going to Daniel or Ezekiel, that's perfectly fine. Bill shared that he had avocado on it. I mean, that's fine. If you're having avocado on Ezekiel bread, that is definitely way better than this. So Oreos are next with 2,000. So we doubled from the bread, 2,197. Then the nuts, walnuts, 2,600. And the olive oil, 4,000 per pound. So now this is not saying it's, this is not exactly perfectly like, obviously the Oreos are here and we're not saying you should eat Oreos and not eat olive oil or nuts, because which one is going to fill you up more?
It'd be
The nut.
milk, it'd be dumping the Oreos in.
Oh, Andrew's going to dunk his in milk so that they fill him up. Okay, good thinking. You're very strategic there.
What's the difference between the bread?
Well,
Big-
this,
Big change because part of the ingredients.
this doesn't have the water. This is made up. This, I assume this is made up. So it's going to have water in it. It's going to have a lot more fiber. It's going to have a lot more fiber, actually. Even though, I mean, this might say 1 to 2 grams. We're going to be 3 to 5. And this is, you see, even when we talked about at the beginning, how this is ground to a powder versus this is, it's not quite the whole oats, but we're closer. Okay. So this is going to be better glycemic than this is for your blood sugar. So good questions, guys. I love it. So great job. So that's an important concept to understand. Now let's start.
What's the difference between the oatmeal bread, if you put water, the oat?
Well, that's a good question. It would change it because then the weight would, you'd have a lot more oats, thus calories for 1 pound. So it would go up. I'm sure it wouldn't be, there's not really a chart that we can refer to, which I'm kind of glad because I don't want anybody to like get into like counting these exactly. I'm going to give you some concepts, but I would say it definitely go up there. Let's see, the oatmeal 325, the bread 1,120. So it'd probably double at least the oatmeal to 700 to 800. But yeah, no, these are good questions to think of. So let's go back to sharing because we're going to go through how we put this together. So satiety obviously is something that, do you guys see you do, there we go. Okay. Satiety, that feeling of fullness is what we're getting at here. And so often what happens is we start talking about, ghrelin and the different changes that happen. And yes, these are important at some level for like me to know, but you don't need to know. What you just need to know is your body is going to feel more full. You're going to have more energy if you're following the caloric density, the fullness, how satisfied you are with it. We don't need to get into, well, this hormone goes there and that goes that, and it's changed this. What's changed is our food supply. We've changed to ultra processed that's chopping up. We don't even have whole foods left in a lot of the things that are on the shelf, and we're not feeling satisfied from it. It takes a lot more, and it doesn't satisfy it for as long. So fascinating fact is we find from studies that people tend to eat the same weight of food. So think about that. So if you're eating 3 pounds a day, it's anywhere from 3 to 4-ish, maybe 5 if you're a really big person. But I usually use the number 3 pounds a day. So if we put on a plate 3 pounds and we put on low caloric density foods on there, but it was 3 pounds, think about the calories versus if we put high caloric density foods on there and just 3 pounds, kept with the 3 pounds. Which one's going to end up significantly higher in calories? Same weight, but those foods that are higher caloric density, it's going to go through the roof. And it has a lot to do with satiety, how our hormones are affected, how we feel and satisfied. So a person eating things 3 pounds, but they're eating from the things higher on that chart, they're going to blow out of the water the calories. And I don't want to get into like minuscule calories because there's a lot to do with the type of, it's not exact science, this whole calorie, like 3,500 for a pound, you need to lose that. It doesn't equate out, okay? Exactly. But that's a good general thing to use to think through these concepts. So think of what gives you satiety. So our kind of weight loss isn't a problem of counting calories, it's a problem of just being satisfied and eating things that are high caloric density. So how many of you like to use willpower? That's essentially what we're doing when we're creating these menus with these calories. On paper, the numbers are going to come out so that you're going to lose weight. But nobody's saying, how do you feel? Do you feel satisfied, full? That's what makes a difference. You're going to think a lot more about food if you're going around hungry all the time. And at some point, your willpower is going to give in. So, okay, I'm going to show you 2 foods in a second on the screen. And I want you to tell me which one you think is going to help you feel more satisfied, more full. So think about using the concepts. So they're both the same 100 calories, but there's a significant difference in how you're going to feel when you eat them. So, you know, all you need to know is the concepts that we talk about. I can tell you which one's going to fill you up better. 1, 2, 3. I'm hearing soup. You guys at home agree? Soup.
Yes.
Yeah. 2 soy chicken nuggets. Nope. That's not going to be very satisfying. So, but 1.5 cups of soup. That's not a humongous serving, but that's a get started serving. So water, fiber, book. Okay. So there are the reasons. It's that simple, guys. When we start thinking about how to put things together, how your nutrition goals are, I'll keep continuing on and show you some things that you can use, but I've got another one, a little tougher. It's 2 foods that are 800 calories. So I want you to tell me which one's going to satisfy you more. They're both 800 calories. 1, 2, 3. Six potatoes with salsa or a cup of cashews.
Cup of cashews.
You know,
I agree with Barb. I could not eat all those potatoes. So now I would be full after a cup of cashews, but I would get them down before I probably feel full, especially if they're salted. So the baked potato, I wouldn't even get through. I'd be lucky if I got through 2. Be lucky.
Yeah. Depends how big.
So-
Yeah.
So the baked potato actually is one of the most satisfying foods. It's what we put on top. And so I know salsa, you may be going, I don't know about putting salsa on. It's actually a health question I give when I'm out at health fairs, and I get a few looks, but the idea is it's what we put on top. So could you put marinara sauce, homemade marinara sauce? I know, Andrew, you would make a killer marinara sauce. So
That sauce right there, I eat that.
you'd eat that? Okay. Andrew would eat the salsa on there. So it's what we put on instead of the butter, the sour cream, the cheese. What
So
can we
in
put on?
Since this is, it would be better to have potato with the salsa?
Yeah.
It takes long.
But I-
It's the brain.
Sauce, you gotta want some sauce.
That's what you got to watch, Ronald, is the sauce on there. Yep. Could you put chili? Could you put chili on there?
Yes.
If you could make a homemade pico salsa, it'd be healthy.
Yeah. So hummus, cottage cheese, possibly. What was the suggestion there, Carl?
I put my chili on my baked potatoes.
Yes. There you go. See? That-
Cheese.
Cottage cheese. Yeah, cottage cheese. Yeah.
How much yogurt?
Dairy, usually we go with non-fat, unless it depends upon where you are with your weight goal. Like 2, there's all kinds of things. If you're using it as protein, you can do 2 to 4 kind of thing. It depends. And you don't have to have any, it depends, because calcium and protein we've been getting from other sources. So, but you can have as many as 4. So
For 4 serving?
4 servings. Again, it depends upon that would be a protein source then, very likely, when we're doing that. So,
Basically, since we started this week, switched to yogurt,
yeah,
we don't buy milk.
Okay.
We can have it in the refrigerator.
okay,
And we basically use yogurt for anything and everything.
okay. So, well, that's working great for you guys. That's great protein. You're getting a lot of good calcium. So filling you up, I assume, and then adding in some vegetables in there. So possibly fruit. So, okay. Now this,
Where is the eggs? Like,
We didn't figure that.
well, it's not listed there. I'm going to put a whole egg in with the seafood there. And then if it's an egg white, I'll go down to the dairy.
so 2 or 3 fried eggs on that potato. Okay, 2.
2 or 3, egg whites and maybe 1 egg, yeah. So that's creative. I never thought about that. And I do that. I do some scrambled egg on there. So a hot baked potato. I like that. Okay. You guys are so good. Okay. This next picture, I'm going to have 2 foods, same calories and same proportion of protein, carb, and fat. Because some people like to get into this, ooh, it's the ratio of the carb and the protein. So which one's going to fill you up? Both. We have a 2-pound pineapple or 40 gummy gooey, however you say them. I say them wrong. Pineapple. Yes. So same amount of carb in both of them, but one has a lot of water and fiber. So that's going to fill you up. So it's not really the ratio. So what I'm trying to say is calories are not equal with satiety. I really want you to think about satiety rather than calories. And I don't want you to think about so much this ratio. Yes, I want you to think, I don't want you to avoid protein or anything like that, but I want you to think whole food and satiety. Okay, so what we know is if you want to lose weight, you want most everything coming from the first 2 groups. It's an easy kind of goal. If your goal is weight loss, you want primarily from vegetables and fresh fruits. Okay. Now, if you want that will be a fairly rapid weight loss too. And if you think about it, that's carrots and lettuce and asparagus and, things like that. You're not putting, but okay. So that's probably not realistic, but I'm just saying that would result. A more realistic is if we do the first 4 food groups and combine 30 minutes of some type of movement a day, you would see weight loss. A slower, but you'd see weight loss.
When you say first 4, what do you refer?
I'm going up the legumes and the starchy vegetables and the grains and the fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, that's not something you'd want to do forever, but if you wanted to kickstart doing some weight loss, if that was your goal, then you want to, and I don't want to say no protein, but primarily from those, that would result in weight loss. Now, if your goal is weight maintenance, then we want to eat in all the green areas there and pull just a little bit from those first 2 out of there. So now if you're primarily outside the green, what's going to happen? If you're primarily eating outside above the green, what's going to happen?
Gain weight.
Put on weight. So we actually know if your caloric density is 800 or above, the average, if it is, then you're going to gain weight. 600, you're probably going to see creeping on over like a year. You're going to be like, wow, I gained like 4 pounds. I don't know how it happened. It's creeping on at 600. 5 to 550 is where we want to be for health. And the World Health Organization says that. That is super healthy, being right at 550. Yes, your average. So, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. So, if you want to lose weight, you go less than 500. I don't want you to count calories. Instead, you kind of look at where you're getting your foods from primarily. And I don't really want to think about diet, but if you need to bulk up, if you're trying to lose weight, on those in the lower categories here. So if you're maintaining weight, then you cover the green. So an interesting study they did where they took subjects and they fed them one of 5 things, and then they gave them a buffet and said, eat as much as you want. And they found out which foods people ate less, like without being told they're supposed to like limit what they eat. They just ate whatever they wanted. And so the idea was to find out what really filled people up satiety wise so that they didn't eat as much afterwards. So let me tell you what those 5 things are, and you tell me what you think worked. So a 50-calorie salad. So it's going to be, lettuce, tomatoes, carrots, that kind of thing. Then double that size. So it's still taking from that first category, but it's double size. So it's 100 calories. So then a high caloric density salad. So this one's got the croutons, the bacon bits, the sunflower seeds, the blue cheese dressing. Okay, so that's a very heavy salad. Then a bowl of vegetable soup was the fourth group. And the last one was 100 calories of fruit juice. Which one do you think they ate the least amount? In other words, it satisfied them the most, so they just didn't feel propelled to eat more. And they weren't told, usually they're told the study's studying something else, and they're like given this as a like first thing, and the researchers, so they have no clue. They really don't. So what do you think they ended up eating least for after? Vegetable soup, water, fiber, bulk. Yes. What was the worst? What do you think they eat the most out of?
Big salad.
Yeah. High caloric density salad. The fruit juice was pretty close. Fruit juice was pretty close because the fruit juice was, it didn't have fiber in it. It's just water, but it didn't have any fiber. So it had that glucose in there. So from the fruit. So yeah. So what do the results mean? And this is what I see done a lot is to focus on low caloric density and high satiety. So to dilute, you want to dilute your higher density foods. It's not that we don't have any. I still want you to have nuts and olive oil, but we make sure we have lots of those from the lower part of the density chart. So let's try this out. I've got 4 cups of whole wheat pasta. It's at 563. Remember 500 to 550 is where we want for weight maintenance for health. So if I want to bring it down, what do I do here? If I want to lower the caloric density, what do I need to do? We're at 563 with 4 cups of whole wheat pasta. Tell me what you do.
Water.
Add water. Okay. I've never had that, Phil. Thank you. Okay, that would work for a little bit, but then your hormonal system would catch on because your stomach measures volume. Okay.
Add some vegetables.
Bingo. If we add 1 cup of broccoli instead of the 3 cups, we go down to 422. You want to see what happens if we go 2 cups? Oops, 350. Now, I'm not saying you should have plain broccoli, 2 cups with 2 cups brown pasta, but you get the idea. It's pretty simple when you start thinking about it. So one thing, I've alluded that when I worked at the spa, they always had the guests for their meal. They'd give them a little kind of pre-course, and it was a salad or a soup or a really small fruit cup. So they'd give them time to let that start to fill them up. It'd be pretty. And so they would give that to fill them up, and then they come with the main meal. But people eat less when you start with a salad or a bowl of soup. You do. Try it out. So start out with those. So if you want to build a meal, this is kind of, you don't have to follow this, but I just want you to understand the process. Ask yourself, okay, what is the non-starchy vegetable you're wanting? In other words, what's that first group? That's what you should be eating most of. It's got a ton of nutrition and phytochemicals. It's going to give you the best bang for your buck. You want a good deal. That's that first group, guys. I don't want you to only eat that, but I want a lot of that to be. So are you going to start with a small salad or cup of vegetable soup? If you really want to bring down the caloric density, if you want to fill up satiety. Now, if you say, no, you're not going to, then you need another non-starchy vegetable. So I'm getting you to 2 non-starchy, either 2 servings of non-starchy vegetable or 1 serving and a soup or salad. I'm throwing out there what would work. You don't have to do this. You might be going, Teresa, that's just too much vegetable for me. I get it, but I'm telling you what would work. So your job is to find then, if you want to try this out, some bulk salads or salads that you love that are based on those vegetables in the lowest. vegetable soups that are based on. It doesn't mean they can't have some beans or a little bit of, Andrew has a little bit of chicken in his, but it means they're based off of the vegetables. So what starchy vegetable? Then you can add in either a grain, whole grain, intact grain, or a starchy vegetable. Because remember, I kind of put those in there. Then a lean protein, a quality protein. And then what herbs and spices? You know, those are going to up the flavor. They're not going to add any caloric density to the meal. So, and if we're at the goal weight, we can add some nuts, seeds, avocado, splash of high polyphenol oil, and then optional some non-fat dairy or low fat if you're at goal weight. So that's kind of the process for planning a meal. Okay, I don't want to make it too scientific, but this is kind of how you round out and do that plate that we've talked about. Okay, so we're going to jump into mindful eating real quick, and then we're going to do a mindful eating exercise. It is important to know this because this goes hand in hand with the whole idea of satiety. Okay, if we're going to start paying attention to fullness, we got to pay attention, become aware. So, okay, so mindful eating is about starting to be aware of what, why, how. And the most important is why. Why am I eating? Is it because the time on the clock? Is it because this is the only time I'm going to have some time? Is it because everybody else is eating? Is it because I'm hungry? Is it because I walked past some food, or I smell food, or I drove by food? Just starting to become aware. There's no right answers to any of those, but just being aware. So mindless eating. This is what we do all the time. Mindless eating. We're eating in front of screens. We're eating in front of TV and newspaper. We're eating. Clear studies show that if you do any of these, you're going to overeat. You're not paying attention to your fullness. Now, I'm not saying you can't occasionally do these things, but you've got to start becoming aware. At least at the beginning, how hungry am I? Am I hungry? Am I eating when I'm hungry? Okay, so then you get on the go. You put out your food, eat that, then pay attention. Am I full after I ate that? At least do that. We're going to do a mindful eating exercise. It's the ideal, but you really need to be bringing in more attention, awareness to, am I hungry? How hungry? How full am I? So, okay, we have this tool, and you don't have to like make copies of this and post this on the refrigerator or anything. It's, I don't really think in numbers when I'm thinking of my hunger and fullness, but sometimes that helps to get you started. A 5 is no hunger, no fullness. So think about where you are right now. Do you feel like, can you point to where you feel fullness in your body? Is it your stomach, or is it your throat, or is it your shoulder? You know, those are some things we start asking. Do you feel fullness? Do you feel hunger? If you're neither, then you're right there smack at a 5. Now, if you're starting to feel full, then you're creeping into 6. We want to stop when we're kind of creeping to the end of the 6, not yet to 7. That's when you stop. We're 80% full then, because in 20 minutes, your hormones, your small intestine will have had a chance to figure out a bit about what you ate. It's not a scientific, they know exactly what calories your small intestine, but your small intestine knows if you gave it white rice, or if you gave it a little chicken with some tomatoes or onions, and you know, it has a feel, and it's going to give you feedback in your fullness as to how full. And that feedback will tell you, am I good to go for the next 3 to 4 hours? If you're just like not really hardly ate much, then it's just going to give you a little ping, but not much. If you gave it a solid, good fullness meal, then it's going to say you're good to go for 3 to 4 hours. Now, is it exact on the button? No. Can you full it? Can it full you? Yeah, a little bit. But in general, we eat till we're just about to a 7, 80% full, and we'll go up to 100%. There's a saying, 80% is for health. The last 20% is for your doctor. If you are always eating to 100%, you're going to be overeating. And some of us aren't even paying attention. We're already stopping it beyond 100%. That's a big reason that our health is where it is overeating to begin with, because our bodies are pretty amazing. Even if we don't give it like this wonderful balance, it can work things through for the most, but when you're giving it extra calories all over, all the time, that is wearing up. It's a lot of garbage it has to deal with. So hunger, you want to start when you're in a 4, not a 3. What's going to happen if you wait till you're a 3 to eat? Yes, you're going to raid the cabinets. I like that, Barb. So yes, so you're going to overeat. So usually when you start into a 4, you got 30 minutes to an hour. If your hunger is kind of in a good pattern, when I start to get hungry, I'm not like famished, but I feel that, I notice that, and I go, I need to eat in the next 30 to 60 minutes. Now, in the 60 minutes, am I going to be like famished? No, but I'm going to feel a good sense of hunger. And I can sit down and eat something that's going to take me, if it's filled with fiber, water, bulk, it's going to take me for 3 to 4 hours then when I get to 80% full. I do not like being over full. I've trained myself. Now, I don't go around eating like hungry all the time. I'm not that. If I eat processed food, then that would be a problem because I'd be fighting my hunger. I'd be hungry. You know, that's what happens. So, okay. Behavior change is hard. This stuff is hard because we're faced with food 3 times a day. Okay. So, you know, things like drugs and alcohol, there's regulation about advertising. And we don't have to face it every day. But we have to face food, and it's legal to advertise. So it makes it very tricky. So be nice to yourself. Be compassionate. You're going to have to try out things and see what works. In the past, I've even worked with clients on what foods help them feel more satiety, because you're going to find some foods that are going to be different than your partner somewhat. So you've got to figure out what that is for you, what you love plus what gives you satiety. So, okay, use this. I usually recommend people do a trial run 3 days. If you've not paid attention to your hunger signals, do this for 3 days. Just say, I'm going to do 3 days. I'm going to put a note on the cupboard so that I pay attention, or a note on my alarm on my phone. So I ask myself, how hungry am I? Am I hungry before every time I eat? And then I'll give you some kind of strategies for helping you see about your fullness. But it is really important to become aware of that. It doesn't need to be something that like all of a sudden you're thinking, you know, 90% of your waking hours about food. It's not like that. It's just, okay, you know what? This is the time I'm feeling a little hunger. So when should I eat? What am I going to do that? Okay, it's taken care of. Let me move on. So, yeah.
So is there a difference with, like, you know, Monday through Friday, right? We get up, we gotta get ready for work, have your coffee, right?
Yes.
You're not hungry at that moment, right? But I might be hungry in an hour. I can start feeling like,
Yeah.
okay, it's close to 8, I've been up for 2 hours, I'm kind of hungry. That first meal.
Yeah.
Does the first meal make the difference for setting, I mean, like, I want to know, like, from the nutrient perspective, if that first meal is a bowl of cereal and some raisins, right? Does that make a difference, or do I need to be worried about, you know, the fruits and vegetables, things that's first thing in the morning?
So, okay, those are good questions. So, first of all, you don't want to eat the first hour you're awake, because your melatonin has not come down, and your melatonin interrupts insulin. And so if you eat something with any kind of sugar or carb, you're going to have higher blood sugars in that first hour. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, is hogwash. That was created by Kellogg's or one of the big cereal companies. Okay. I'm not saying you should skip breakfast, but that's
more looking at how I feel.
Yes.
Isn't necessarily like the clock that's it.
We used to say, and I used to advise people to eat within like an hour or two of getting up, irregardless of hunger. The research is showing not so much. We need time to clean up. We need 10 to 14 hours. And some people might be recommended to go closer to 15, but I would go under the advisement of somebody then. But we know 12 to 14 hour period usually when we're sleeping, connected with just before bed, 2 to 3 hours before bed, do not eat unless you're advised by your doctor for your blood sugar reasons. But here's a problem with that. Your melatonin starts to rise 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. And again, the melatonin is going to interfere with the insulin, so you're going to have higher blood sugars if you're eating something then. Plus, your body, when it starts to gear up for bed, drop your temperature even by a half to a full degree, there are several things that happen, and they're shutting down and getting ready for your nighttime. When you eat something at 9 o'clock at night, just before you go to bed, everything geared up all of a sudden. Now you interrupted that. You may not feel it, but you have interrupted your cleaning. And throughout the day, you're creating garbage. And you need a time to clean that up and repair. And we aren't giving that. And we're seeing actually a lot of our problems could be linked to some of the sleep problems and eating and not giving that 12 to 14 hours. So we haven't really talked about that. I usually talk about that in the diabetes class, but 12 to 14 hours at night, not 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. You can have tea, water, decaf. You can have coffee in the morning, but no sugar in that first hour, tea, water. And then as far as the first meal, I usually go with that 12 to 14 hours. Make sure you've got fiber. You don't have to have vegetable, fruit, that kind of thing. I do usually have a fruit, my blueberries. So usually I do recommend having either a fruit or a vegetable, just because you're trying to get half. It's really tough to leave it then the rest of the day. But it sounded like from what you said, you have grain and a fruit. Yeah, that's fine. If that holds you over, you have to look at your satiety. And that's why I don't like really getting into serving sizes. I can give you a starting point, but you need to look at being full for the next probably 3 hours at minimum, maybe 4. Okay. And with my breakfast, I could go 5. And sometimes that's the way my day goes. So, because I don't want to be famished in 3 hours. So, and we need to give our body time again to get the blood sugar cleared out, even that kind of thing. When we're eating every hour, I'm not going to say it's horrible. Some people can do it, but you know, those are small. Those aren't. Then you're not really having meals. You're just having snacks throughout the day, and you just need to be careful about that, because most people, their snacks are highly processed. So does that help? I kind of went into a lot of things there, but those are good questions. So mindful. So slowing down. I'm going to give you a couple strategies in a second, but know that there's internal and external factors that come into play here. There's the clock, there's what your activity you're doing, whether people are eating or not. Those are external factors. Internal factors are going to be things like, am I bored? Am I upset? Am I celebrating? Am I having some physical symptoms going on? You know, so there's all kinds of things that can go on that affect it. So, so I wanted to, before we get into the mindful eating exercise, a couple things to help you slow down, be more mindful while you're eating. If you can sit down for a meal, I like to sit down. I like to put candles on at nighttime and just make it special, whether it's me or my kids, because it brings the meal into appreciation. And then on the plate, to slow things down, if you're a fast eater, what you can do is think about how full are you right now. Then you put your food on the plate, or how hungry are you, and then divide it in half and only eat half. Put your fork down and ask, am I still hungry? Now you might be, but take the moment to ask yourself with just half of what you put on your plate, because you might be over putting down food on there. Then if you are still hungry, divide that in half. So now you're down to, you're going to eat like 3/4. So eat that, put your fork down, ask if you're hungry. For some people, what they need to do is take half and put it on a different plate and put it an arm's distance away, because they just go at it. They don't even think, they're distracted. So if you need to slow down your eating, you can do that. You can put your fork down between each one, take a sip of water. Those kind of things really help slow you down. You need to figure out, because you need to become more mindful of your fullness and your hunger. So, okay. So we're going to move into, oh my goodness, the time goes. Okay, we're going to do a mindful eating exercise, and then we're going to do soups. So, and chocolate, we've got chocolate. So, I'm going to get off here. Those people at home, if you can go get make sure you have your 2 raisins or your 2 chocolates. And here, let's see, let me get off. Oops, there we go. Go there. Okay, so people here, I'm going to ask that you guys here close your eyes and hold your hand out. I'm going to give you something. So nobody has any allergies. I don't think anybody has any allergies. So you're going to know what this is pretty much. Just don't open your eyes. Because we're going to do a mindful eating exercise where we just don't even use our eyes. Whoops. There we go. So you get an extra one there. Okay. So there we go. Perfect. So I want you to take those that are here in person. Don't open your eyes. I want you to unwrap. You're pretty sure, I'm sure what you have, but unwrap it and listen to the wrapping. Just listen. Fully be aware of what's going on. Those at home, I'll wrap you into it in just a second with your you're seeing your raisin or your chocolate chip. Now I want you to take whatever you have here in person and just take it up to your nose. Don't bite it, and sniff it, and then take it down. And I want you to think about what memories come, what it smells like. So just taking it all in. Yeah, I think you got to figure it out. So those at home, just take one and smell it. So, and just see what, if you get any kind of whiff there. Okay, now for those here, I want you to just go ahead and take a bite and hold it, a small bite, and hold it on your tongue. And I want you to just let it melt on your tongue. Those at home, just go ahead and take one chocolate chip or raisin, put it on your mouth, Don't swallow. And just twirl it around a little bit. It's going to melt. If you want to bite down, you can bite down. It's probably melted for those people that are here. If you have the raisin, it's nice to let that kind of churn around and then bite it and see it kind of squish. Go ahead and slowly bring it to the back of your mouth and swallow it and follow it all the way down to your stomach, as far as you can go. And those at home, go ahead and swallow your raisin or your chocolate chip. Okay, now those here can open your eyes. So I'm sure you figured out what you have, a Dove's chocolate. They have a Dove's chocolate. So what I want you to do is take the second bite. I want you to just take a bite and swallow it very quickly. Take a bite and swallow very quickly. No holding on your tongue or anything. No chewing. Well, don't choke, please. I do know it's a Heimlich, but so now you took 2 bites. One you savored, and one you ate more kind of like what we're doing nowadays, commonly, fast, mindlessly, without paying attention. So tell me what the difference between the 2 experiences was. Taste. So which one tasted more different? First one.
Savoring it.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't it amazing? That's a gift that you have every single bite that we just gloss right over. Now, my point isn't that we should slow down like this for everybody, because we can't. I know we can't. But think about how can you incorporate this in? Because by savoring and paying attention, food actually tastes different. Some cases better, some cases not. When you pay attention, it's amazing how things kind of are different than you were thinking they were. So, but mindfully eating also helps you pay attention to how you're feeling in your body. We didn't really take time. A lot of times I will guide you on first appreciating the food, the chocolate, the cocoa. It was grown in Brazil or Argentina or Colombia or somewhere there. And dried out the pods, and just think about, you don't have to go through that, but the idea is appreciate the food on your plate and how the hands that went to put it there, or the drivers that drove trucks or whatever. It's pretty miraculous how we get food nowadays. The second thing is pay attention to your body. How hungry are you? Do you have other sensations going on? Are you angry? Are you upset? Are you happy? Are you, what is going on inside your body? What thoughts? Are you having racing thoughts? and then lastly, savor, enjoy the food. So these are all three kind of layers that you can bring together in a mindful eating experience. And we know that when people eat mindfully, do they eat more or less? Less.
Less.
Less. And which are better, the first couple bites or the 50th bite?
First couple.
They're all good. You have unique taste buds, Carl, if they're all good. So our body was made so that the first few, in general, are you're most sensitive. So you will find you want to repeat that first one, so you eat and eat again and again, but it's not the same as that first one, traditionally.
A new recipe and everyone is looking at it going, are we gonna like this? If you take that first bite,
Yeah.
you're making a decision right then.
Yes,
Is this worth, are you gonna finish it or are you gonna?
yes,
Think again?
exactly. Yeah. That's a great observation. So, okay, so let's get going. So,
Eat the last.
yes, you can eat the rest. Sorry, I'm torturing them by not letting them eat. They got to savor it. So, okay. Okay, let me switch you guys over to the camera. And then we're going to make the Brighten Your Day soup. That's my favorite soup. So, there we go. So Brighten Your Day soup does have a lot of ingredients, but it doesn't take a lot of prep. So that's the good thing. It just, you know, just quickly bring together the ingredients. There are a couple things that we do bring together. So let me grab here. This one is a complex soup and it's vegetable based. That's why I like it a lot. So I've tried a lot of different soups and I'm glad to try Andrew's to add to it because I'm really picky about the flavor and how the ease of it. So I've tried some and they're so bland. I'm like, forget that. So it's got to really just be universally really kind of tingly good. Let me see, where's my onion? My onion here. I'm going to cut up my onion real quick. Real quick, guys, remember we cut off the stem, we leave the root, we go through, we peel it back. Peel it back. We're just going to chop this one really quick. And we're going to horizontal cut. Okay, you gotta be careful so you don't cut yourself. This is the most dangerous cut, the horizontal. Then follow down the lines of the onion. And don't go too far back because you don't want to cut your fingers. So, okay. So we're going to saute that in a little bit of olive oil. So my olive oil here. And remember, so sure that's warm. Then we're going to add that in. And so your asparagus soup doesn't say to saute the onion, but a lot of recipes won't, but I go ahead. It just brings out the flavor of the onion and the garlic. So so I did that tonight for the asparagus soup I made up already so that, because we're always short on time for that, but I want you to taste the asparagus and I'll go through how to do that. I'm going to add my garlic there in the center and just give that like 20 seconds, remember? So, and then we're going to add in, basically we're going to dump in the rest of the ingredients real quick. So 20 seconds, there we go, fragrant. So this is a method, whoops, we got a little bit of skin there, that you can use for any kind of beginning with onion and garlic. Okay, so we're going to add our seasonings. We've got oregano. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, well, we're just going to go like this. We're just going to do it by sight. Smoked paprika. I can use my bay leaf. There's my bay leaf. We'll use a little bit of oregano. 2 teaspoons of that. Okay, and let's get going with the vegetable stock because I can smell the garlic there. I don't want to get that overcooked. Don't want to burn that. So let me grab a little bit of salt and pepper. I know I put that in there too. So
So the sodium on this, the nutrition's coming from that stock.
well, there's not much unsalted, so 160. It does have some unsalted stock. Is going to still have some from the soil, from the vegetables. So sometimes it's like, why does that have some? So, and we're going to add just a little bit. I think it's a 1/4 teaspoon. Is it? Yeah. So a little bit of pepper. Since I lost all my spices there. Okay. So we got that. The bay leaf we're going to take out. Now the bay leaf, that kind of, it brings out the flavors of other components in the dish. It's a common in soups. It's common in Filipino dishes. I noticed it's in Indian dishes a lot. A bay leaf. It does add its own little bit of flavor, but it also kind of strengthens other flavors. We're gonna then add. Let me just double check our frozen vegetables. So I've got some frozen veggies here.
If you eat fresh game,
Yes.
you're a hunter.
Yes.
The baby takes some of the wild taste out.
Takes the wild taste, the bay leaf. Okay, that's good to know. Well, and that's probably somewhat why some of the Asian cultures probably use it. So this is frozen sweet potato. You could use butternut squash too, a cup of that. So you don't have to actually cook that. I like to add in a corn and just a little bit of carrot, bean, and corn mixture. So again, we got a lot of veggies, but you don't have to chop it up. So that's nice. I added a can of, and I've got it in another recipe, a jar of red pepper. So that's what this is. I chopped it up some. I drained it, just 1 can of this. It's 1 cup equivalent. So we're adding that in there.
Fresh would be fine.
Fresh would be fine. It's not going to be roasted, but this is nice, super easy to have on hand. The diced tomatoes, no added salt, the whole can there. I drained the garbanzo beans. Let me make sure. I know we stir in the vinegar and the spinach. I think everything else. Yep. So, and we're going to add a little bit of wine. So that's what I have here. So I'm like, so the wine, you can just use a white, like a Pinot. Here, this was like $6 at Hy-Vee. $5 to $6 is fine. So it just adds a little brightening to it. Do you have to? No. If you don't use the wine, let's see. I think I said, what did I say? Did I say there? Lemon juice. Yeah, you could use lemon juice to brighten it up. I just like to use it. So you get a chance to taste it there. You could do a Chardonnay if you wanted to. I do like the Pinot for this. So, and then we're just going to let that cook while we do other things. So let me just turn it down just a tad. There we go. And at the end, I will add white wine vinegar. You could add regular vinegar. This is just a little milder. So if you want to smell it and see, the nice thing about vinegar is they last forever. So I know you're like, well, should I buy this? So you can sniff it and see if the soup is good. And then we'll add a little bit of, doesn't like the spatula there, spinach at the end. So just before we finish, we'll add that. So that is that soup. So I love it. You'll get to be a taster of it. As you can see, it wasn't really a lot of prep. It's just dumping and putting together and not spilling like I just did. So let me get this up a little bit here so I can prep other things. So
Can you freeze that?
Yes, definitely. So if you wanted to add a little chicken to it, you could do that too. But you know, what I want to introduce you to also are some soups that you could use as like beginning the meal, like we were using the caloric density concept. So Okay, next, we're gonna make a cauliflower salad. So this is a very Mediterranean dish. So we're gonna blanch, and I already blanched the cauliflower, but I want you to know how to do the cauliflower. So, so when you cut cauliflower, it's really simple, very much like cabbage. So I already rinsed this off. Typically, I'll cut, you see all the leaves there? I'll just cut like that to get that kind of going there off. And then we can just cut it into quarters through the core. So down here, and like the cabbage, we've got kind of a triangle, thin up to thick there. And we can just cut it like that, and you can see how we can break it apart. So real quickly, you shouldn't be spending more than a couple of minutes to get your florets. I did tonight cut them into small ones, but that's so you can have a taster. So these are a little smaller than I probably have made on my own, just so we have tasters. So when we blanch, we just like steam it. You can blanch in boiling water too, technically. You do it less time if you don't have a steamer. And then you put it into cold water. The cold water stops the cooking, and it will destroy some of the enzymes that make it go bad. It also just slightly cooks it so that it's milder with the cruciferous flavor. A lot of chefs will do blanching and then freeze it or blanch, and then in the morning and then the evening before they serve, they'll just recook it real quickly and then put the sauce or whatever seasoning and then put it out to the patrons. So, but 1 inch of water, half an inch to 1 inch at most. Don't have it overflow here. About 4 minutes steaming, 4 to 5 minutes steaming the cauliflower. So I did that earlier. So we're going to make a sauce to go with it. It just does not like I got water there. It's so funny. I'll bet you it'll stop once I wipe this off, the water. Ta-da! There we go. Okay. So let me get the sauce ingredients. That is, let's see, where's my sauce ingredients? They're on. Not that, not that. There it is. It's on my plate here. Okay, so we're gonna make like a parsley red pepper sauce here. So I'm gonna put together the red pepper. I just took half and chopped it here. Half we'll use on the finished product. A little bit of mint. This is very Mediterranean. A little bit of brine from the peppers. If you forget and drain it and go, oh shoot, I was supposed to save a tablespoon. Just get water then. Couple tablespoons of olive oil. Again, this is very, very Mediterranean. And some parsley. I'm going to add a little water because this is an extremely wimpy blender. So we're just going to put that top on and get this. There we go. Whoop, there we go. Okay. So, I always get nervous with blenders, sorry. I have had a few catastrophes with blenders. So, okay. So you can see the sauce here. It's got a reddish brown with a little green tints to it. So, okay. We are going to do, then it's very simple from there. We're going to put on, but I'm going to actually assemble it on a plate for you. So I'm going to show you the very Mediterranean way to do this. So here's my yogurt, just Greek regular yogurt. So it's going to be a great recipe for you guys. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil. So this is very good olive oil. We're going to mix that up. And I've done this where I've served guests, like I had a big long rectangle plate, really pretty kind of blue tealish, and put this down. But so stir that. I'm gonna put that out here on the plate. There we go. And next, I'm just going to take a bunch of this so you can see the effect. Add that. And I'm going to sprinkle on some of my Kalamata olives here. And red pepper strips. And some walnuts. And there we go. See how that is? It's very Mediterranean. So it's delicious. You guys will get a chance. Isn't that beautiful? So you guys will get a chance to taste that. So, okay. So it's a cauliflower salad, very Mediterranean. So, okay, chocolate. You ready for chocolate? I've already got one chocolate ready. So let me show you off this. So look at this, guys. Doesn't that look yummy? So I'm going to put this in the microwave because ricotta is kind of got that pebbliness. And when we do pudding, we kind of like it smooth. So I find if I just heat it up a little bit, because that's what I got this food processor out here for. So, we're going to do that, and then I'm going to do the chocolate chips. So, okay. So this is only 3 ingredients, the original recipe. So the 3 ingredients are dark chocolate chips, 60% cacao. So I usually do 60%. If you do the Nestle, they're like 56%. I usually don't do 70. You could do 70 Lindt, is pretty good. But above 70 is pretty strong. So, 4 ounces or a half a cup, I'm going to melt it in my nice little, here in my nice little Pampered Chef steamer. It works for vegetables and for chocolate. Now, this one here, I did the cocoa version. So I added, instead of melting the chocolate chips, like I am now, I did ricotta with cocoa. Let me put this in. And powdered sugar, you need to increase the powdered sugar a little bit because you're not using the dark chocolate. Dark chocolate has sugar added to it. So we up that to 4 tablespoons of cocoa or powdered sugar. And then used a couple tablespoons of the cocoa. Make sure you can use a Hershey's, but make sure it's not the Dutch processed. The Dutch processed has more roasting, so it destroys some of the polyphenols. So, but the ricotta, you don't want skim. You want low fat. It's this weird thing that low fat has less saturated fat. The low fat or light has 1 to 1.5 grams of saturated fat. The skim has 3 grams. Very bizarre. So that's why you always need to read labels. So let me see if this is melted. Not quite. Let me just do it a little longer. Don't want to burn it. Okay, let's put this in, and we're just going to put this all together and blend it, and we'll be done.
Make sure we
It's
get
that
to Elizabeth's
it's
event.
nice to serve with either raspberry or mint leaves. Are kind of nice touches I've done before. So this is kind of, warm, melty, but you'll see it'll cream up really nice. You don't need to let this set either. It'll be perfect to eat right away. Just add my powdered sugar. So 3 ingredients is all. And it should be pretty close to done. Yep. And just stir that around. Let's see. Let me put it in for just like 12 seconds or something. So while I'm finishing up, I know we're out of time. Think about what is like one thing that you're going away with. I will go over the asparagus, just how to put that together. Oh, let me heat that up. Shoot, let me heat that up. Oh, this turned off. Oh, nice. Wow. Without asking me, you turned off. Okay. Okay. think about what is one thing from, I mean, I know it's hard to remember the first 3 classes, but if there's anything that's coming out that you're like, you know, I can, you know, that just sticks out in my mind. Is there anything in particular that's coming to mind for anybody? A demonstration or a concept or anything from class or that you want to share? Just doesn't have to be profound.
Actually,
Yeah.
and so just not like, you know, like earlier I said, you know, when they're mixed in with other stuff, there's lots of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to not be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Like, my mom she wasn't creative in the kitchen, you know, so.
Yeah.
We would eat her meals pretty bland. And I like when he cooks, it's much more flavorful and so.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, it's just not being afraid of the vegetables that they're gonna taste it.
So did you guys hear that? Barb shared that she's learned to not be afraid of vegetables. So she grew up with fairly bland, and I can attest to that. I mean, well-meaning parents, but didn't know how to make vegetables, just boil them to death kind of thing. So yeah, great, great. Lynette, did you want to share something there? I see you.
I'm just amazed at how well you
You're
can
welcome to take yourself
multitask.
off mute. Anything else, anybody? Okay, let's see. Say that again, Ronald. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
longer to last in the refrigerator.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So his food is lasting longer now that he's gone away from processed. So you're able to just do more with your food, it sounds like. Awesome. That's a great, I never thought about that. I am going to turn this on real quick here so we can blenderize it. Okay, we are done. That's it. So look at there. So let me get another. There we go. I'm gonna put this. See, I have 2, I guess. So you guys will get to taste one with the dark chocolate chips and then one with cocoa. The difference being the saturated fat is less with the cocoa. I want you to know taste is important. So if you find you prefer the one with the dark chocolate chips, that's fine. This is a dessert. So it's meant to not be like it would replace a meal. So this one has been refrigerated, so it did set up a little more. This one, you know, you can see it's still quite thick, so you could easily serve this. So you could let it refrigerate to set up a little more. So this one has the cocoa. This one has the dark chocolate. So you guys will get a chance to try those. And then I wanted to go through the asparagus soup. So the asparagus soup I have here, if you, let me grab that recipe. Here it is. If you look at that, so we've got stock, we've got the onion. Like I said, I would probably saute the onion in a little olive oil first. If you don't have time, that's fine, but it just brings out the flavor a little more. And the garlic. 3 cups of asparagus. This is how I keep it in the refrigerator if I'm not using it right away. It needs the moisture in there. It stands up really nice in a vase like this. Just so you know how you do asparagus. You just break it wherever it breaks. Don't worry about did you do it right. Wherever it breaks, it's fine. This part is woody. It's just, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to throw it away. So I've looked. There are things you can do where you like take down the edges and so this is just stronger flavor. cook chefs don't use it typically. So you could probably use it for a stock maybe, but just break it where it breaks. That's what you do. And then chop it small because we blenderized it. So I usually save the tops here to serve. It's a really nice touch to sprinkle on top of each serving to have a little bit of the tips there. Other notes about it, half a cup of cashew. That's optional, but I probably didn't have quite a half a cup. So I got this from Walmart. I have trouble finding cashews not roasted raw at Hy-Vee. So I don't know, but I know Fresh Thyme will have these. Raw cashews are used a lot in vegan cooking because they're a little sweet. If you really taste one, they're actually sweet and they're soft. So they blenderize and break down fairly easy as compared to other nuts. So they help thicken the soup some. Now, this soup tonight, if you would like it even thicker, then add some more cashews. So, and when you blenderize it up, it will be thicker then. So that's kind of a way that instead of cream that we use in a vegan world, cashew pieces. So you could substitute for asparagus, broccoli. I do like the asparagus in this recipe, but you could try substituting something else. And I diced up just one red pepper. It doesn't have a ton of spices. If you wanted to add more spices, you definitely could. And on top, we're going to add a little fresh dill if you want to. I like the fresh dill on there. You could use dried if you wanted to, but I like the fresh since I was able to get it. So these are soups that freeze really well. They have some fresh ingredients and some frozen. Celery. Just so you know, I just want you comfortable with these things. I know some of you may already know, but this is a stock, and typically what we do is cut off the ends. And then when we chop it, typically we go, when this is wider down here, we take a line down, a line down. So now I've got this, I flip it over, and I can easily chop it. So typically I might go down the center there and just hold it. But typically that's how we do it. So I just want you to be comfortable chopping it up. We do blenderize with immersion blender. If you want it chopped, if you like choppy soup, that's fine. But I blenderized it with this. So that's really nice to have for soups. It's not as strong as a blender. It saves you a step of dumping the soup out into a blender and having to blenderize it. So there we go. You've got 2 soups, 3 bonus thanks to Andrew. Andrew, did you want to share? I'd like you to share actually about your recipe. Any tips on putting that together?
Well, the vegetable soup, you can use chicken, beef, or just vegetables. That's what you want to do. We actually had it last night with beef. You can put a little bit of salt or sugar in there. It calls for, I think, a teaspoon of sugar. You could use liquid stevia, which is what we tend to use at home. It's a little healthier for you. And then most important thing is the last few steps is to make sure that you mix I use cornstarch. I think it's a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, 1/2 cup of cold water. Don't use hot. And whisk that together into a cream. Put it into the soup. Stir it in real well. It needs at least 30 minutes to cook that cornstarch flavor off. That'll thicken it. I didn't think about the cashews as a thickening agent as well, too.
Yeah.
But you could do that. I never thought of that. And then bouquet, you can get it in the condiment section of like the grocery store. We shop at Fairway. I don't think I've ever found it there. I usually have to get it at Hy-Vee. But it's kitchen bouquet. It looks like a little hourglass shaped bottle. It's a browning liquid and it has basically nothing in it. It's a caramel base. That makes the soup brown if you're using beef. If you're going with the vegetable stock base, it wouldn't need anything. Or chicken base, it wouldn't need any color. But if you're making a beef, it kind of adds a little bit of brown to it and makes it look nicer in the bowl.
What's it called? It's called Browning.
Kitchen Bouquet.
Kitchen
browning
Bouquet.
Liquid.
Okay, Kitchen
Now,
Bouquet
there's
Browning.
another version of that that looks real similar to that shape. It's kind of fat on the bottom and a skinny top. It's not refrigerated, it's just goes in the pantry. And it's a seasoning sauce and it has a lot of sodium in it.
Okay.
But the Kitchen Bouquet it's labeled as a seasoning sauce or a browning liquid. It's got basically no salt, no calories, no fat, no nothing in it. It's just almost like a food dye.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you, Andrew. So you have another soup to add to your repertoire. So we're
I just like it because it's crock pot. You can make it in the morning and then it's done when you get home.
nice. Well, love that. Love that. So wrapping things up, thank you guys. A big thank you for you sticking around. We're over. We're going to have yummy food, taste both soups, the cauliflower, the Mediterranean, and then the 2 chocolates. Also, just want to remind you, please let other people know about this class. You're our biggest referral source. Let your doctor know. There's so many doctors that have no clue about this class. So if you can bring in your binder and just say, hey, this was a great way for me to make the transition. And lastly, this is supported by the foundation, Trinity Foundation. So you do have an envelope in the back of your binder. You can make a donation. You know, any amount is welcome. You can also do it online. Just make sure it goes under cardiology so that we make sure it goes towards these community programs. So thank you so much. And I'm going to add my spinach. Notice that I have the paper towel here so that it's going to whisk off any kind of moisture there, keep this fresher longer. And I'm going to add the white wine vinegar there. So finish things off and we're going to try out. You guys are going to get some good filler, satiety. So to finish off your evening.
Do you
So,
make that with sherry?
oh, that would be okay. Andrew's suggesting sherry with the soup. I think we need to try that. So yeah, it might. You'll have to taste it and see what you think about. I love this because I think I call it brighten your day because I just think it's complex and it feels good. So it's not heavy. It's light. So awesome. Well, thank you guys.